was the Word, and the Word was what it was.
The only time blacks and whites come together or switch sides and no one gets lynched. Too bad most are entrenched. This is anything but a metaphor for life. Separate and equal ain't never worked right, cause all's not fair. In love, war, or anything else, trust. Blacks been forced to the back of the bus, and in the army, tossed to the front line. Venus Hottentot was a caged exhibit, cause
and I've been asking all day, can we go hard?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can we go hard? I'm asking you, are you ready to cringe a little bit?
Yes, sir. Yes.
If I don't make you cringe a little bit, I'm not doing my duty.
Right.
Big brother, this is for you.
Dear anti-revolutionary poet, what if Amiri Baraka stopped writing, stopped speaking the truth, stopped teaching the youth, stopped raising hell and fighting and loved you, just like your master? What if I loved your babies the same way the Catholic priest did? The same way Justin Volpe loved Louima in that bathroom with that plunger. Could you gaze then into my eyes and love me the same way you love the system? What if I violated your children like R. Kelly and then paid you off? Would you love me on videotape for the world to see? Black woman, if I serenaded you the way the rappers do and then beat you and then brag to my friends, would you shake it fast and then watch yourself on BET degraded by your brother? Black woman, I am your brother. What if I stick my bick in your mouth, dripping ink down your throat? Would you swallow my load of poetic BS? Are you coming up with quotes as your pad? So soaked with words that you can't bear to take anymore notes.
America, or prefer the 13 colonies. I got bankrolls and flesh. Peace to me is starvation. War makes the money, and I'm an expert at playing on your insecurities. All I see is Dumb and Dumber. All money in this spot now. I can buy your soul 1,000 times over and still.
He must have had a minor in hospitality. It will explain how well-mannered he would behave when the boys in blue came in at questions about domestic disturbance. No, sir. No issues here. Her screams are silenced by the language barrier because policemen in my neighborhood no hablan español after 6.
Give me my daddy's blue suede shoes, jailhouse rock, and Little Richard is just due. I want the deed to your platinum wax built by the House of Stacks. I want my daddy's records back. I believe Amiri Baraka was right when he asked, if Elvis Presley is the king, then who's James Brown? Sometimes I want to beat on the drum. I want to ride a horse into the sunset. Catch my own food, skin and cook it. Savor the taste as I examine the stars and pollution-free skies over a fire that I built for the occasion. Sometimes I want to rid myself of my phone, smash remote controls, chop down telephone wire.
But I know the greatness that I stand before. Mel, y'all know James Baldwin, right? Yeah. A little bit. So after James Baldwin passed, I mean, who else?
That's right.
But Imamu and Amiri Baraka. And I say Imamu because I grew up in that household. Imamu means spiritual leader. My mother's library had over 1,000 books. And her bedroom closet, oh shit, that's footsteps. My mother's library had over 1,000 books. And her bedroom closet was flooded with guns. And she helped raise her first grandson with a switch and a message. Her patience was not to be tested. A nurse who taught 2 languages and expected her progeny to excel. Quick to tell you tough titty, raised 4 children by moving back and forth between southern and northern cities, told my mother no way. Yeah, you and that baby can move in, but it go roll in, moving into my house on no day. No pity. Bosom was warm, but the gangster was gritty. Pretty girl, piano player, singer, matriarch, cared for her parents for years while secretly dying of cancer, but still never let anything tear her family apart. My grandmother, you let English was my heart.
Twice. These fellas maybe remember that back in 1967, I went to court accused of having 2 guns and a poem. The judge said, This poem is a prescription for criminal anarchy. I want to know, Judge, you mean they took the poem and after they read it, went out and burned up the city? Is that what you think? Anyway, it said 3 years, no parole. And then 2003, what was it, this poet laureate thing, the governor said, and he said, you're the poet laureate. I said, well, are you sure? Have you ever read my poetry? Have you ever read any poetry? Because you might be making a mistake. You know, he said, well, I can handle it. You know, but then, of course, I read this poem at the Dodge Poetry Festival. Maybe that's why I'm not invited back to the Dodge Poetry Festival. And the governor called me, governor's office called the next day and said, you have to apologize and resign for this poem. You know, poem, create that. I thought poetry was nothing but literature.
Right.
But see, that's the point with these poets. You see, it's not just, quote, literature. You understand? If you're doing what you're supposed to, like the brother said, if you're doing what you're supposed to, there's supposed to be a reaction to that. And everybody can't stand what that reaction is. You know, they can't stand that, but that's what the gig is. You see, and if you can't handle that, then you got to get another gig.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? People always say that. You know, but like my daughter, bless her soul, who was killed, when that poem came out, she said, she came to me, she says, Imamu, they want to know if you uptight because, you know, they want you to resign. And she said, no, I told her my father liked it, she know that. In other words, she knew what our job was, you know, to create that questioning in people. What is the world really like? So, like 911, which is what they hammered me for, 911. Now, you know now, in 2012, that 911 was simply the door to the Middle East. There's nothing but the way they got in there. They ain't got out yet.
Yep. Yep.
They had been Iraq, now they're going for Iran. They got Libya, they got Syria next. You know, that's all it was, is the door to the Middle East.
Yep.
But if you say that, you know, oh, what you're doing, you're getting ready to go steal everything. That's what you get ready to do. Then you got to give up these little awards that they give you. You know what I mean? But those awards don't mean anything. I like to say this though. We have always a tradition. What I'm doing with these poetry, this is not new for us. Afro-American poets, Afro-American writers, we have one of the greatest traditions in the world. We can be proud of who we are. We mentioned Jimmy Baldwin, you know, but what about people like Larry Neal? You know, what about people like all the poets, for instance, Langston Hughes, for instance, or Zora Neale Hurston, all those great poets. You can go all the way back and read about black people stirring up trouble in this country. Why? Because we were slaves. Nobody else been no slave. So if we don't raise hell about it, who's going to do it?
That's right.
You know, and we on the bottom. If we don't say nothing about it, who's going to say it? You know, and if you get too cute to where you can't talk about reality, then you need to get another gig. Don't be no poet. You know, and all that imitation English academic poetry that we tried to deal with in the 60s. You know, like he mentioned the Beat Generation. That's why I was hooked up with him, because they, remember the first person I saw got banned was Allen Ginsberg, who also from Newark.
Right?
You know what I mean? He's white, Jewish, but he came from Newark. You understand? All the poets that are known from New Jersey have had a hard time. Not only Ginsberg and myself, but Walt Whitman. You know, they wanted to ban him. William Carlos Williams, they wanted to ban him. But all of those poets, because while we're so close to New York, we get sophisticated, but we country enough to say what we mean. What we have to look at is not only our tradition, but what institutions are going to carry that forward. What institutions do we have You know, Rutgers, we happy they let us in here. It wasn't time, we couldn't even come in here. You know, I was a professor here, they ran me out. 1989, yeah, that's right, that was another place I got kicked out of. And why? Because I said, university is the last bastion of colonialism. You teach English, literature, you teach French, drama, you teach German philosophy. What about teaching about Afro-America? What about teaching about Puerto Rico? You understand? Or Brazil, or Mexico, or even Canada. Why not teach something in the Western Hemisphere? You see? So I was gone after that. The guy McCormick, who was just the president, they got rid of him, thank goodness, because he was the hatchet man then, you know, at that. And what they really got mad is that the white kids came out of the school too and closed down the English department. That's why I got run out of there. They closed the English department down, you know, the campus was closed for a whole week. Why? Because I said, you don't teach nothing about the Western Hemisphere. You don't teach anything about the Western Hemisphere. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that in America, the literature always goes between oppression, that is, this is slavery. Everybody are slaves. Everybody has slaves. You know. So the Swahili word for Holocaust is Maafa. So if people ask, you know, how has it been in America for you? You say, it's been a Maafa. But oppression versus freedom. The slaves want freedom. The slaves want freedom. The people that run it want oppression. That has always been the two posts in America. They just closed down, I don't know if you know that, they just closed down KISS. BLS. BLS bought KISS. BLS was bought by some white folks from California. Fronted off by Magic Johnson. So now there is no black radio even in New York City. Check it out. You think you're making progress. So I want to say, Obama, hey, I got to support Obama, you got to support Obama. I know that's a no-think idea. I mean, when you look at, listen, Newt Gingrich and the rest of the lizards and stuff. You know you don't have a choice. Right. You know, even though he's done some dumb things and got to be criticized, you know, that Libya thing, for instance, you got to criticize him. You can say, Obama, that was some stupid stuff. But at the same time, nobody going for the Republicans. Right. You understand what I'm saying? But we have to be able to criticize him, but we have to be able to swear we cannot go backward. We cannot go to no Romney or nothing like that. And finally, they're getting ready to transform Newark. That's right. They're building 3 charter schools on William Street and housing for out-of-state teachers. What does that mean? Out-of-state teachers. What does that mean? Not y'all.
It's like missionaries.
They built a new hotel on Broad Street. You understand?
That's real dangerous.
Prudential is going to build another tower. They haven't paid their taxes since 1970. One of them buildings is worth $300 million a year in taxes, and they tell us we got a deficit. Why did the Negro ask them for the money they owe us? This is the point. They're getting ready to transform the city. Will we be in it? That's the question. So the one thing we can do to guarantee that is to be clear politically. To be clear politically and to support those people who are fighting for us. You know, whatever their color is. You understand? Whatever their color is, who is fighting for the people in this city.
Talk about it.
And thank you very much for this award. Yeah.